I sold my father's watch to pay off her debt. On our anniversary, she laughed, pushed a cake toward me, and said, now you're worth even less. Her brother raised a glass to the dumbest man alive. I didn't speak. I drove off. This morning, they were both crying in a pawn shop. My phone? 81 missed calls. Her final text, please. I kept the knife. I didn't say a word. I blew out the candle on the cake, wiped my mouth with the back of my sleeve, and walked out of my own anniversary dinner. The watch, the one thing I had left of my father, was gone. Pawned 2 weeks ago to cover her credit card bill. A mistake, she said. Just a temporary fix, babe. I swear I'll get it back. She had this little tremble in her voice when she said it that made me believe her. Like maybe for once I wasn't being played. That was the lie I held onto when I handed the pawn shop my dad's Omega Speedmaster. I remember the guy behind the glass barely glancing at it before offering me $700. I needed $950. I didn't argue. I took the cash. Swallowed my pride. So we could have a clean start. So her credit wouldn't tank. So she could stop crying every time another past due notice showed up. But last night, she smiled. She actually smiled when she shoved that little bakery cake toward me at the restaurant, the one I'd booked weeks in advance, thinking I was doing something sweet. The place was packed, the waiter had just brought the wine, and out of nowhere, she slides this white box across the table and says, hope you like it. Cost more than your soul. I opened the box. Inside was a single cupcake, pink frosting, gold cursive that read, try harder. I looked at her. Dead in the eyes. She tilted her glass, sipped, leaned in. And now you're worth even less, she whispered. Guess I should have kept the watch instead. Then, her brother, Dane, sitting one table over, she invited him. I didn't, lifts his champagne flute and calls across to me like he's at a roast. To the dumbest man alive? Everyone laughed. I didn't. I stood up, dropped the cloth napkin on the table, and walked out. Didn't say a word. Didn't pay the bill. Didn't even grab my jacket. I got in my truck, turned off my phone, and drove. No GPS. No destination. Just, away. I spent the night in an empty parking lot outside a closed-down outlet mall. Slept in the cab. Cold. My back aching. The only thing I could think of was my dad. What he'd say if he knew I pawned his watch for her. He gave me that watch 2 days before he went into hospice. He said this was the only thing I didn't sell when your mother left. It survived the worst of me. Hope it sees the best of you. And I gave it up for her. For Sophie. We met at a coworker's baby shower. She was in a tight navy dress, sipping from a mimosa like the room was hers. She complimented my shoes. Said I had old-school dad style in a way that made it sound sexy. I was 29, living in a studio above a mechanic shop, single for almost a year. I fell hard. She was chaos and perfume. Never had money for bills but always had her nails done. Claimed she hated liars but kept 5 X's on her Snapchat. I knew she wasn't stable, but damn if she didn't make me feel needed. Like every little crisis gave me a purpose. Like saving her made me someone worth saving. The debt started small. A vet bill for her cat. Then a ticket. Then just a little short this month. I told myself it was temporary. Love meant helping. She cried when I told her I'd sold the watch. Said it's just a thing. You're a good man. That was 2 weeks ago. Last night proved everything she said was a script. This morning I woke up to 81 missed calls. All from Sophie and Dane. No voicemails. Just missed calls. Like they expected me to jump when the phone rang. Then finally, a text from her. 3 words, please. I kept the knife. That was it. I didn't go home. I drove straight to Westfield Pawn and Gold. Same one I'd sold the watch to. When I walked in, Sophie and Dane were already there. She was crying real tears this time. Dane was pacing, red-faced, whisper-yelling at the guy behind the counter. The watch was gone. Sold. Gone. I stood there, staring at them while they argued, while Sophie begged. She didn't even see me at first. She was too busy holding up a crumpled receipt, telling the clerk she had the matching serial number. That she could prove it was stolen. She lied so fast it didn't even register as lying anymore. Dane saw me first. His eyes went wide. Yo, bro, he said, like we were teammates or something. This is all a misunderstanding. She didn't mean what she said last night. She was drunk. Sophie turned. Her makeup was streaked, her lips trembling. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't know it was permanent. I thought you'd come back. I didn't answer. She stepped forward. Her hand brushed mine. I kept the knife, she said again, softer this time. From the cake. I didn't throw it out. I didn't. I stepped back. Not because of fear. Because I didn't want to give her the satisfaction of touching me. The guy behind the counter finally broke the tension. Look, he said, if it was sold more than 10 days ago, it's gone. That's policy. I don't keep records of who buys after the hold window. Sophie collapsed against the glass case. Her face pressed to it. Sobbing. Dane looked at me like he expected something. Sympathy maybe. I walked out. Didn't say a word. I'm back at the mechanic shop now. Living above the same oil-stained garage I started in 5 years ago. My boss, Tony, left a 6-pack outside my door. No note. Just a nod when I came in. He heard about last night from his cousin who bartended the dinner. Word travels fast when you're humiliated publicly. Sophie's account is deactivated. Dane hasn't posted since yesterday. But I've already gotten messages from 2 of her friends. Hey, just checking in, she's really sorry, she's not doing well. Let her unravel. Let her feel the weight of what she laughed about. Because me? I'm done paying the price for someone else's chaos. My father's watch is gone, but I remember his words. And the best of me? Is still coming. Edit 1. Yes, the pawn ticket is still in my glove box. I check it like an idiot every time I drive somewhere, like the watch might magically reappear. Edit 2. To the person who asked if Dane always treated me like that. Yeah. He once asked if I could spot him $400 for rent, then showed up to a poker night in new Yeezys. Edit 3. Someone suggested checking pawn shop auction sites for the watch. Already did. Nothing yet. If I ever find it again, I'm buying it back. No matter the cost. Update 1. She broke into my truck last night. Didn't take anything. Didn't trash it. She just left a note. Folded tight and shoved in the center console right next to the pawn ticket. I wouldn't have even seen it if I hadn't gone looking for my phone charger this morning. I unfolded it with greasy fingers, sitting in the garage office, still wearing my coveralls, engine noise thumping through the floorboards. The note said, I kept the knife. I kept everything. I didn't mean it. You're not dumb. You were just the only one who believed I could be better. And I broke that. That handwriting? Same one she used to write little sticky notes on my lunch bags when she wanted me to feel special. Same loops in the Y's. Same guilt masquerading as softness. Tony saw me reading it. He didn't say anything, just slid me a fresh cup of coffee and kept talking to a customer like nothing was happening. She didn't just break into my truck. She also dropped off a box. I found it when I got home, sitting outside the staircase to the studio. A shoebox wrapped in that cheap foil paper she always bought from the dollar store. Taped shut like she was scared something inside might try to get out. Inside. The knife from the anniversary cake. A photo of me and my dad from the last fishing trip we ever took. My hoodie she always borrowed and never gave back. A flash drive. And at the very bottom, taped underneath the cardboard, a check. Written out to me. For $947. In the memo line, she wrote, Time doesn't rewind, but maybe this can. It's the exact amount I gave her 2 weeks ago. The exact amount I got from pawning the watch. I stared at it for a long time. Didn't know whether to laugh, cry, or burn the whole box in the alley behind the shop. The check bounced this morning. I called the bank to be sure. NSF. Classic. The flash drive? I plugged it into my old laptop. 1 folder. No label. Inside were screenshots. Dozens of them. DMs, Venmo receipts, texts. All tying Dane to the scheme I'd never even known was a scheme. Apparently, the credit card debt wasn't Sophie's alone. She'd taken the fall, but the spending? Joint. Dane's gambling, mostly. Sophie paid off one of his markers with the money I gave her. The rest she used to cover her own mess. There's a screen recording too. Dane texting her after the dinner. He'll come back. He always does. If not F***K it, we'll flip the story and say he's abusive. Nobody sides with the guy. There it was. My answer. This was never about a mistake. Never about a bad night or a cruel joke gone too far. This was planned. I sent the whole folder to my work email. Then backed it up on 3 drives. Zoe, Tony's niece who handles legal paperwork for the garage, said she knows a lawyer who could help me press charges if I wanted. Fraud maybe. Defamation. Extortion if we stretch it. But honestly, I don't know if I want revenge. I just want it to stop. Last thing. Sophie called from a blocked number about 20 minutes ago. I picked up out of reflex. Her voice was shaking. She said Dane's gone. Took her car, maxed her cards, left a note that said, You're the real dumb one for thinking he cared. Now she's scared. She said she has nowhere to go. That everyone's gone. That I was the only one who ever stayed. Then, just before she hung up. I still have your dad's watch. I lied. I bought it back. Click. I'm shaking again. Because I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's bait. But I know one thing. If she really does have it, she's coming back. And next time, I'll be ready. Edit 1. Yes, I've already changed my locks. Zoe made me do it the minute I told her about the truck break-in. She also added a security cam over the garage staircase. Edit 2. The check is now framed and hanging above my coffee pot. Not as a trophy, more like a warning sign. Update 3. Dane tried to launch a smear campaign. He really thought he had something. An old video from last year, just me, drunk at a party, ranting about work, complaining about bills, calling my dad a stubborn old bastard. It was one of those 3 a.m. rants we all regret the next day, the kind you forget ever happened until someone decides to weaponize it. He leaked it to a few of Sophie's mutuals. Framed it like I was unstable, disrespectful, emotionally erratic. Even added captions. Turned it into a whole mini-documentary about how Sophie was trapped in a toxic relationship with a bitter man who manipulated her into staying. Cute. He dropped it on TikTok under a burner. Account name at Truth Real Talk. Got maybe 2,000 views before it started spreading in the wrong direction. Because someone stitched it. Guess who? Gemma, my ex-coworker. The one who used to work with Sophie before she left the boutique. Turns out Gemma's been sitting on her own receipts. Apparently, Sophie faked a pregnancy scare last fall to test my loyalty, then bragged about it in a voice note she accidentally sent to the wrong group chat. Gemma still had the recording, so she stitched Dane's video with that. Added context, dates, screenshots, a short message at the end. Funny how the truth always leaks from the same pipe. Her post? 500,000 views in 12 hours. The burner account? Deleted. Dane? Vanished. I got texts from 3 of his exes that same night, all saying some version of "he pulled this with me too." Turns out he's not just a parasite. He's a serial manipulator with a trail of burned bridges stretching across 5 cities. And Sophie? Sophie finally snapped. She came to the garage again 2 days ago. Didn't ask to talk. Just stood across the street in the rain, soaked, mascara running, holding a sign like she was on strike. The sign said, "I was the villain. He was the anchor. I cut the line." Frankie took a photo. Tony asked if we should call the cops. I just watched. She stood there for 2 hours. Never spoke. Never moved. Just stood there while people stared, cars honked, and the rain came down harder. Then she left. No note. No drama. Just disappeared into a rideshare and didn't look back. That was the last time I saw her. Since then, I've been getting messages. Not just the usual Reddit sympathy or DMs from people saying they saw the whole thing unfold. I've been getting letters. Handwritten. From men. From women. From people who were gaslit, humiliated, discarded, just like I was. One guy sent me a Polaroid of his ex holding a baby bump that turned out to be a pillow. Another girl mailed me a copy of a restraining order from her ex-fiancé after he tried to blame her for crashing his car into her apartment building. Turns out there's a whole underground fraternity of people who gave too much. People who pawned their futures for someone else's amusement. But here's the thing. That ends with me. Because the watch is back on my wrist. My life is no longer in shambles. And this whole nightmare? It gave me something I never thought I'd have again. Freedom. Zoe, yeah, Tony's niece, the paralegal who helped me archive everything, as she and I have been grabbing lunch after work. Nothing serious. Just grilled cheese and root beer floats and long talks about our worst days. She gets it. She doesn't flinch when I tell her I used to feel like a placeholder in my own life. Last night, she said something I haven't been able to stop thinking about. "You didn't lose your dad's watch. You passed the test he never got to see." I asked her what that meant. She said, "He gave it to you hoping you'd remember what strength looked like. And you did. So yeah, let Dane vanish. Let Sophie rewrite her memoir. Let them both drown in the silence they created. Because me? I'm not here for revenge anymore. I'm here to rebuild." Edit 1. Yes, Zoe and I are taking it slow. No, we haven't kissed. We just sit, talk, and laugh without feeling like we're walking on broken glass. It's weird. And peaceful. And I'm not rushing a damn thing. Edit 2. Tony made the quote permanent on the office wall. "Some lessons don't break you. They build armor." He painted it himself. Said it reminded him of his divorce in '94. Final update. She left a key. Not metaphorically. A literal key. Small, brass, cold in my hand. No note. No explanation. It was taped to the inside flap of the shoebox she gave me with the watch. I didn't notice it until last week when I was clearing out junk from the apartment and decided to finally toss the box for good. At first, I thought it was just an old apartment key. But I held onto it anyway, call it a gut thing. Yesterday, I figured it out. It was the key to the storage unit Sophie rented last year when she claimed her landlord wasn't safe and needed a place to stash valuables. She never told me where it was, just that she kept some old furniture and photo albums there. I didn't push. I was always more interested in keeping peace than keeping track. Well, curiosity won. I found the facility by digging through our old shared emails. Password resets, confirmations, billing reminders buried in the archives like forgotten bones. Took a drive. Hour outside the city. Middle of nowhere. The kind of place with flickering security lights and an office run by a guy who looks like he hasn't blinked since 2013. I walked to unit number 217. The key fit. Inside? Chaos. Boxes stacked 6 feet high. Clothes and garbage bags. A broken vanity mirror. 2 flat tires. An entire plastic tub full of hotel toiletries and half-burned candles. It looked like a life someone had tried to live and failed at halfway through. But near the back, behind a garment rack bent from too many winter coats, was a locked filing cabinet. And the key worked there too. Inside? Everything. Printed screenshots of her messages with Dane going back 3 years. Photos she never posted, candid shots of me sleeping, laughing, working on the truck. Notes. Hundreds. Scribbled thoughts on napkins, post-its, grocery lists. Some rambling. Some terrifying. And a single envelope with my name on it. Inside? A letter. No theatrics. No lipstick kiss marks. Just her handwriting. Clean. Precise. Calm. Here's part of it. "I never thought I was the villain. Not really. I thought I was just surviving. But the truth is I built my survival on breaking other people. I used you because you were the only one who didn't ask for anything but honesty and I didn't know how to give that. Dane was easy. Chaos is always easier than kindness. You were the first person who saw through me and still stayed. So I tested you. Again. And again. And again. Until you broke. I want you to know I did buy the watch back. Not for you. For me. Because I needed to believe I hadn't destroyed everything good. But it doesn't matter now. I'm leaving the city. Starting over. No plans. No posts. No lies. Thank you for being the only thing in my life that ever felt solid. I hope I never see you again. Because if I do, it means I failed again. I read it 3 times. I still don't know how I feel about it. Relieved? Angry? Hollow? It's like a chapter closing itself when you weren't done reading. I took 1 box from that unit. Just 1. It had every photo she ever took of us. Some were sweet. Most were posed. A few made me laugh out loud, like the one where I'm holding up a pizza like a championship trophy because we finally got the crust right. I burned them. Not out of hate. Not even out of pain. Out of completion. So where does that leave me? Right here. The garage is doing better than ever. Tony offered me a partial ownership deal last week. Says I'm the only guy he trusts to run it when he's finally ready to retire. Zoe? We're officially dating. Still slow. Still real. She brought over a plant last week and said if it dies, it's your fault. I named it Redemption Fern. It's still alive. The watch? Back in my top drawer. I don't wear it every day. But sometimes when the morning feels heavy and the world feels louder than it should, I put it on just to remind myself where I came from. And Sophie? She's a ghost now. No social media. No sightings. No more texts. Part of me hopes she finds peace. The other part hopes I never have to think about her again. Let me leave you with this. Everyone thinks closure comes with an apology or a dramatic final scene or a revenge arc where the villain begs. But the truth? Closure is quiet. It's a key you didn't expect. A box you almost threw away. A fern that doesn't die. Thanks for writing this whole mess out with me, Reddit. If you're out there holding on to something, someone who made you feel like less, someone who called your pain a punchline, someone who laughed while you bled. Let them go. They were never holding you. You were holding them. And now? It's time to let go. Edit 1. Yeah, I really burned the photos. I know some people save stuff just in case. But I'm not keeping souvenirs from a survival story. Edit 2. Zoe says hi. She made lasagna tonight. We're planting herbs this weekend. Life's small. Steady. Honest. Finally.